Hello, everybody. My name is Ricardo Cruz. This is the group MosDef, and I'm gonna let my group introduce themselves.
I'm Delan Diaz.
I'm Julio de Mara.
Santos de la Paz.
I'm Nora Delgado.
I'm a special guest, Salvador Dogadillo.
Alright, so for today's discussion, we're going to relate it back to the notions of dehumanization, the societal constructions created by that dehumanization, which we're going to funnel down to American hypocrisy with relation to the human condition and the lies and dishonesty that lie within them. Alright, so the first song that we're going to talk about is Immortal Techniques, the Fourth Branch, which has to do with American hypocrisy. Alright, so I'm going to start off with the line, "Forgetting God is not a religion." So I think that has to do with the human condition being connected to American hypocrisy, since as humans we do rely on a religion, whether that's atheism, and how it fuels American hypocrisy, right? Somehow American bills, American everything always has to do with the Bible. They always go back to it, they recite it. What are y'all's opinions on that?
I feel like they've been hypocrites because, like you said, everything has to do with the Bible, right? But everything's about money, which leads to like wars. And here's how they bombed innocent people, trying to murder Saddam when they gave them those chemical weapons to start off with, or a war in Iran.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I think I especially like that song because I feel like it's just exposing and just telling the truth, really, man. Like, you hear in the news, you don't hear none of that stuff that he's, saying about, like, Iran and, how somebody's going to give people weapons, chemical weapons to go kill innocents, somewhere else, and in the news, we don't know about that, because if we did, we wouldn't be voting and accepting, and being okay with, the wars in other states, in other countries, I mean. Oh.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, yeah, going back to that, like about exposing everybody, like there's a quote here that says, "Fighting for freedom and fighting for terror, but what's reality? Read about the history of the place that we live in and stop letting corporate news tell lies to your children." So that just basically tells us how like they censor some parts and they don't censor the other parts, so they can basically just feed us lies or, whatever they want to feed us.
Right. And
Like,
Exactly.
okay. What do you say?
well, like going back to the American hypocrisy part, like I feel like the media tries to do like such a good job to cover up certain things so that we're not like exposed or we don't know, in order for them to in the end always look good.
Right. Yeah, I feel like in every country you have to kind of keep a bias to keep your country
people
running,
happy.
right? And you have to make your people happy and just tell them what they want to hear, I guess, for it to be successful and running, right? Because if everybody starts rebelling or whatever, or starts protesting and stuff and boycotting, so you're not gonna have a running economy, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's really important, but it's messed up and it's part of the oppression.
Yeah.
I mean, in Public Enemy Truth Decay, he said, "Ever since I heard about the lie about Thanksgiving, while in still thankful through all that fibbing, the truth died while lies make a living." Like, it goes back to that, like, they're covering up, they're lying to the American community. But I mean, in this sense, it's more like they're doing it to make more money, to seem better, to keep it going the way they want it,
I feel like our capitalist society just is very overwhelming over everything that happens. Like everything's money, 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 and I mean, if our economy's not doing good or whatever, then something's wrong.
Okay, well I think we've covered the United States well enough. Within the United States, let's think outside the United States. What harm is the American hypocrisy doing to other countries? So let's go back to the fourth branch. It says weapon contracts and corrupted American dreams, media censorship, blocking out the video screens, a continent of oil kingdoms bought for a bargain.
Oil's in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm. So I think those lyrics are speaking about Iraq, the war in Iraq, and how much harm we've brought to them because of our hypocrisy.
Right. I think that just brings it back to I guess in America and why did it start the war, right, with the terrorists? 7-Eleven. I mean 7-Eleven. 9/11. That supposedly was like this conspiracy or whatever. Like they give you a reason to like to go and make, like cause a fight. And like. So like up to this day, everybody's doubting it. So like those type of things, I guess outside, like the war in Libya or whatever, they saying they're like helping them out, but in reality they're militarizing everything.
Yeah.
Just taking the oil.
Even in the song, it says that some USA manufactured missiles. That's what has the innocent, screams. And also how how the U.S. endorses democracy, and it says it's just a word when people are starving.
I feel like the U.S. also tries to do so much to like keep ourselves in power that like no matter what we have to do to like get power or maintain power, like we do it like all our foreign policies like in Latin America. It's not just like in the Middle East.
Right.
And then I think looking at it not just from like a military standpoint, but as far as like innocent, regular like citizens of different countries, they view us like some people. I mean, some countries I feel like obviously like kind of get us, and they're like these people are really fucked up and all that. But at the same time, like there's a lot of countries or a lot of too many people where they're like America is like this perfect place and everybody is perfect, And I think like that also is part of it, and that also kind of helps influence and make us look more powerful than we should be or are.
Okay, I think I heard one of you mention something about exposing us, how the media or the government doesn't want itself to be exposed, and how they don't want these secrets or these things to come out. I just want to raise this point, like, if they didn't want to get exposed, then us speaking about it, does that not mean that they're already exposed since we know about it?
I feel like we don't look at it, like we're scared of ourselves for letting it happen. Like, we know the truth, but we don't want to accept it. And that's what Tech 9 says. It's like, he says, like a fallen angel standing in the presence of God, bitch, nigga scared of the truth when he looks at you hard. Basically, she's saying, like, we're scared of our own truth because we let it happen, so we're as guilty as the government.
I have something to say about that. Like, if you look at our daily routines, like how everybody's involved, like let's say sports, and like everything is just like it's all numbing us from truth. So people that don't go along with the show that's being played by the government there's very few people. Like everybody's caught up in it, like in every possible way, especially youngsters from like minorities, like all of us, like friends. I can't even talk to them like at a different level because it's like how Socrates said that they're so used to saying, like, if you go to a people and tell them a different thing, they're like, nah, like, fuck you, you're stupid, you're crazy, like, let's take this fool out, let's fuck him up. So like we're all numb, like even if we don't want to accept it, like why are drugs so big, like we're all numb, like we all like to be numb, we're all comfortable being numb. Like I think that's why it's a challenge to take on the truth, because like it's hypocrisy. It's like our roots are all fucked up. Like we're brought up by hypocrites, and like before I start judging others, like others how they've been raised up, like you gotta judge your own parents first, and like whatever society you were raised in. So I don't know, man.
That's a good point.
Yeah, man. I feel like just to elaborate a little bit on that, like exactly how you said, like I come from the hood, Oakland, and then I come out here, right, Santa Cruz. I learn a lot. Like I develop, like my mentality it matures, right. Also with me, like I have different habits, I have different, interests, different mentality. And then I go back to the hood, right, trying to like, with my friends, with my family, right. I go back out there, and then you try to tell them like, hey man, there's a whole other world out here. It's like it's peaceful, it's like love. You don't gotta worry about your back. And then and they start telling you like, like if you try to tell them like, stop doing this, stop doing that. Obviously, they're gonna look at you like, what? Not because you're in college or not because you're somewhere else, like what? Like just because you're educated now, you got the right to tell me what to do, and all of this stuff. In reality, man, like I see myself, a year ago or 2 years ago doing the same thing, the same bullshit that they was doing, and it's just because it's reality, it's the environment that you're living in every day, and it's really hard to just break off of that, So like I definitely feel that.
Truth's a bitch.
Man, oh yeah, and like to just elaborate on truth. I feel like people are not ready. Like you said, people are not ready to know the whole truth. And I feel like personally that it's easier to live in an ignorant way because you don't have to worry about disrespecting this or crossing this boundary, or like if you're living ignorant and you don't know about it, it's much easier to have fun and to live. And that's something that in a capitalist materialistic society they show us that pleasure is what is happiness, and is success, right? And it's not really true, man.
Yeah, and like in the Truth Decay song again, he says, "Not a damn thing funny. I'm digging every minute of it. I'm hating every second of it." So he's acknowledging the fact that like some people are like okay with it. Some people maybe they don't even know it. Like we've done enough so that the people like just think that this is how it's supposed to be and it's gonna be fun. But since he knows what's going on, like he's trying to do something, but he can't get to them because they just don't understand him.
Right.
They don't see that kind of. Yeah.
Okay, well, I went the direction that I was aiming towards because I think we've all just described the human condition. So, with that being said, let's switch gears to Salt and Pepper.
That song's sick. Even though it's like women, it's about women's lives.
Right, and we can talk about the human condition and its relation to society.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about the line, "I can't do nothing, girl, without somebody bugging." And they told me to change, they called me names, and so I popped one. I think that's speaking a lot about society, how somehow I think we all feel like we're always being watched, like we need to fit this skeleton that has been created for us. And I think that's just become the social norm that it's so normalized now that we don't even see it. We just are born and we have to fit this image.
Yeah.
Anything?
I feel like that kind of goes along with the reading, the Paulo Freire. He talks about like dehumanization and like oppression. So I think like there's a line that captures like a little phrase that captures like the essence of the reading, which was the oppressors who oppress, exploit, and by rape of virtue of their power cannot find in the power the strength to liberate either the oppressed or themselves. So I feel like it just talks about how like society has been so like we've been so like conditioned to like think a certain way that like anything else is just different. Like it's out of the norm. Like you shouldn't go out of the status quo. Like you should like look like in the song "Troll of Lies." Now 90-pound skinny bitches, and that ain't even a girl to me. Like we've just been like we have this mentality of like how everything should be, how everyone should look, how just everything should be, and like I think it messes with our mind, like because if not, like if we don't fit this, then where do we stand in society?
Right.
It's big time.
Yeah.
It's media, right? Or what is
Yeah.
it?
So
Because
media.
It's
all this
advertising, like people. You've seen the advertisement, the commercials where like they show you a skinny girl with a nice body, and then they're talking about like Pepsi or something. Like it's all about image.
Mhm.
And it's all like when you're a baby, you're born. Your mom, like starting from your family. If you're gonna be a girl, your mom starts buying you pink and all of this stuff, and that's if it's gonna be a boy, it's like blue and green. So like you can see the differences. And since you're born, they're already putting you in kind of like a box or something. So it's like like it's society in every way, man. And like our parents were born into it, so it's really hard, to kind of teach them and tell them, you need, a lot of knowledge, and like just a lot of patience because you need to know that people are not ready to like I guess just go and break off of the system because it's like a way to live comfortably, a way that society accepts you,
And then kind of going off that, like a lot of times, I feel like people do see the right thing or they do know what's right or like know how to accept different things. But like when it comes down to it, like individually, like I feel like a lot of people, even in college, like are good. But as soon as they're in a bigger group, like that whole mindset changes. They start, no, it's not. It's like this now, But it's like, where did your freedom go when you went with the group? Like what is that big difference?
Right.
How other people can influence each other just by being around each other.
Yeah.
Why is that though? Do you think it's because I mean I don't know. I think it's because we're weak minded, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not raised to like talking about TV, like I'm pretty sure a lot of us in here, I was raised by the TV, man. Like during our holidays, me and my cousins, we played video games. Like that's what we did. But I don't know. I see that a lot of people were raised by TV.
Yeah,
Or
man.
not, if not influenced in some kind of way, cause
I really like that point. I think another one that we're immediately introduced to, like Ricky pointed out, was the whole pink and blue thing. I think that like even before birth, we're introduced to a binary, and at first it begins with a gender binary where it separates you from sex, but eventually that binary becomes a different one, and then that one becomes a different one. So I think even since birth, even before birth, we're introduced to this system of binaries that make us weak-minded. I don't believe that we're born weak-minded, but because we're instantly born and then castrated into this like system, it makes us weak-minded because it gives us like a power level, because it immediately tells us that one's better than the other. So what does that tell you about society? It's a failing construction.
I feel like they mold us into like their puppets, and like we lose our freedom basically as soon as we go into society. Like, freedom should come from the individual, like whatever you want to do, but society like limits a lot of stuff that we have potential to do, but they don't want us doing.
Yeah,
you know what though? That's the government did a good job there controlling us, cause if I watched the documentary where they got a hold of this baby's, like I don't know what it was, a baby whale. Anyways, they raised it, and when they threw it back into the ocean, all the groups in there rejected it and it ended up dying. And they showed that, and it was sick because that's like us. Like if you start, it's like a homeless person. Like when you see them, they're not that crazy. They're talking just like we're all crazy. We're all crazy because we said that we don't talk in our heads.
Yeah.
Because if you say, "Oh, I talk to myself in my head," you're like, "Oh, you're crazy." Then like nah, dude. Everybody talks in their head. Like fucking truth.
Long conversation.
But yeah. But so we have to roll with society. You have to go. If not,
You don't survive.
like I wouldn't even be right now. I'm gonna be like fuck everybody. I'll be like in the Middle East or some shit, trying to fight this government.
Yeah, man.
But I don't know. It's it's fucked up. Like we don't think about this shit. That's what's fucked up about high school, middle school. Like nobody talks about this shit, and then it's all jammed into you.
Yeah.
At
Well.
once, like right now, it's gonna get jammed into us. It's being jammed.
Yeah.
I mean, I also feel like it depends because I was exposed to all of this like in high school and in middle school. So, I mean, I kind of like came here and this wasn't new. Like, it was just kind of like an add-on, like to everything I had already, like previously.
Damn. So where did you learn that? Hold on. Where did you learn that? Like this real issues. Was it like in the school curriculum?
Yeah.
It
like,
was.
Yeah.
What
Like
school did
I've
you
had in LA, downtown Magnets High School. Like I've had very like radical teachers,
Okay.
like who like despite like, oh, you shouldn't teach this, like they still teach it to us anyway. Like
Damn,
you know?
lucky.
so like
That's-
I
yeah.
feel like I have been a little bit
That
blessed
is, yeah,
on that
man.
side.
Definitely.
You know?
Okay, so I think it's important,
It's
we're
awful.
discussing all of this.
Oh.
I think it's important that we take from it as still having the potential to make change. Because, our government leaders, they're not a computer, they're actually people, people die. So I think it's important that a lot of us go through this system talking about it, but then when you get out of college, like, what do? You do nothing, and you grow up to be those people
And that's
that
why
cause that.
that's
And
why I feel the MCs are doing,
right,
they're
they're advocates for change.
Yeah, there you go.
And then your teacher is one of those exceptions where they grow up, but they take it with them, and what they do is that they teach you reality. And then these type of conversations sprout out from there.
Yeah, man.
So we see that their efforts are actually counting for something.
Yeah. I feel like just to elaborate, a lot of teachers are conscious. A lot of them, like people that came from the hood or the struggle, like they struggled, not even from the hood, but like lower, like like they were poor basically. Even white people, whatever, right? They start like they grow up or whatever. They see what the real problems are, right? So they get the knowledge or whatever. But then once they get to like their job, there's a certain path that they have to follow, and they can't start teaching other things because that's the system, and that's not even from the school. That's the government. That's the district, controlling all of that, manipulating what you know. so that when you
Performance.
grow up, you could be okay with working, 8 hours or whatever for this amount of money, and you can feed your family, and they have football like in the weekends for you, so you could be watching it all day. They got movies, like coming up every day. Like what is that really teaching you, man? Like the movies ain't teaching you anything. So they're just playing a show, like he said, playing a show in front of you, and all Americans are just days, like they're just looking at, oh man, like, and they're not really seeing reality. They're not seeing the wars out there,
Yeah, Angelica's song in the chorus, this line says, "They got me in the system," and then he asks himself, "Why they gotta do me like that?" And basically, it's like it's our own fault, kinda, because we're like not doing anything about it. But at the same time, It's really hard to get out of the system. It's just an ongoing cycle of lies and imitations that the
It's
government
not gonna
puts upon
happen.
us.
I mean, I think it's hard because not enough people know about it. Not enough people are willing to teach it for no money. Like if people want the money, you need to survive in America. It's so expensive, right? Not America, in the U.S. I mean, but like, so that's why people keep on like working every day, working hard, 2-3 jobs, because like they just keep you like a machine basically here in the U.S. Like that's how I feel, man.
What's
And
the time check?
21 minutes.
All right. Do you want to finish your thought? I think we should move on to the documentary.
Yeah, man.
No, hold on. Let's not change it. I mean, we can, but do we have to cover everything?
Well, let's just try to
We can
cover the
continue
most
this.
material.
You can
Go
add
ahead.
what
Do
you
you have
want.
anything
Cause
to
I
add?
was gonna add on something. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's because we're all conformists. So basically, we're all pussies. Like the men's, like dude, like Tupac and all them. That we're not like really. Dudes here are not really heroes, man. Like there's people out in the like that dude Che Guevara. Like he was really out there, like with the gun, and also like being a doctor towards the people that were being injured or like starving. But that's basically it. We're never. It's never gonna change. Like I do not. All of us from 10 years from now, we're all gonna be in the fucking system, just working, doing the same shit. If somebody here does
I think
something
most
different,
of us. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like props to you.
Yeah.
But I don't see it. I don't see the
changes.
change. I don't see
Exactly.
I will not see the change.
And like I feel like that relates to the 3 sources of pain. This one being society, like how we're so like pain inflicted by society, like meaning like they basically control us. Like you tell us what to do, when to do it, we just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
So wouldn't that be considered a subconscious harm? Because it's not necessarily causing us. We're not aware of that.
Well,
We're not everywhere.
I mean, this society, I feel like it's still society. 'Cause
Yeah.
they tell you what to do every day.
Well, I
So
feel
school-
Because
that
you're born.
Yeah. So go ahead, man.
I feel the MCs are aware of it. That's how they talk about their pain. Like I feel like some people are aware of it, and that's why they're so mad towards the government. Maybe we're not that much of aware of it, but maybe other people in other country that are starving or that are in war, maybe they do feel it. Maybe they see us like, what the fuck are you guys doing for us?
I feel like it all goes back to like knowledge and knowing how to fight back. Because honestly, and I don't want to put it like this, but like people that don't have the education or don't know how to fight politically, then what they gonna do? Like fuck this government, they gonna start violence, and that just perpetuates even more, because now the police could actually shoot you, actually lock you up, and what good do you do? Like, what good are you in prison? You're no good, So like I feel like people, teachers especially, or people just in college, man, like you need to learn and observe everything, and then take it back to the people that don't have the opportunity, man, and empower them, enlighten them.
But you can't do that, bro, because we were just talking about how you go back to the people that don't know this knowledge, and they're gonna be like, nah, dude.
So it's just organized, and it's not as easy as just telling them there's a whole other world. Like, believe me, it's a whole process.
It's creating awareness. It's not just gonna happen like from one day to another.
And that's how we go back to the MCs. That's how that's their job. That's what they do.
Well, I don't know if that's their job. They're taking it personal. They're taking responsibility.
Well,
and
in
initiative.
the documentary,
yeah.
Talik, whatever his name is, the rapper, he said that although there's a big difference between the 50 Cent kind of rappers and his kind of rappers, which his kind of rappers was to raise awareness. Like he wanted to speak the truth, and that's what he felt his job was. And of course, the other girl, her job was to criticize the 50 Cent rappers about like, why are you gonna talk to women like that, and why you're not using your I guess, popularity to organize bigger groups and do bigger things and just make money for yourself.
But you hear him now, like he doesn't sound like the old 50 Cent. So you know, like you can't. I mean, I don't know. Like you listen to him now, like you listen to his interviews. He's what I would call like if I was in the hood, he's soft. Like you know, like the stuff that he's talking about. You compare him, like he tried to advise Chief Keef some, you know, whatever. Chief Keef ain't listen. He's still this reckless kid, you know. But 50 Cent already grew up. He matured. He has kids now, and then so he's kind of understanding, you know, what the real deal is. You know, like I feel like as a young artist, and if you're hungry for like the money. You're just gonna do it whenever they write you a check, and then once you sign a deal, you owe them your life. You're in debt, you know, and that's how in Jadakiss like why it says exactly that.
Why is the industry designed to keep the artist in debt?
Except you know, so like I feel like he kind of like a lot of people don't have the option to kind of be more conscious because the album or the record or the deal told you you're gonna drop these many, you know, club songs or you're gonna make this amount of money. And what makes money nowadays? Not a conscious song, you know, like. A club banger, you know, like something that's gonna make a girl move, you know, up in the club or something. You know, like that's really where the money is at. You see all the dances, all in LA, Cat Daddy and all that, it's all dance. It's not hip hop. You know, the MCs like Jadakiss and all these people, the actual, you know, witnesses, you know, and the actual reporters.
Yeah, even they admit of making songs like that because that's what pays the bills.
Exactly.
Even they said it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, some actually stay true to themselves and try to raise awareness.
Yeah. And how like Kanye West, new slaves, right? That's exactly what he's talking about, targeting that issue.
But they don't go like 50 Cent. Fuck him, dude. Like he already made his money.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is he to criticize Chief Keef? I don't even know what you're
Exactly.
talking about. But
Right.
of course it's like, oh yeah, you should change. Like he got all these millions. And that's the dream that we're after.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm in school. I straight up. That's why I'm in school.
Right. That's everybody, man.
Yeah, straight up, man. Like, I mean, I don't know now if I want to sell my soul to the devil, but we'll see. Like
and
I
see,
said.
and that what puts us back into the system because again, we're going for the money and we're not focusing on anybody else. Like it's just me, money, me, me. Instead of how we're gonna push our people together and fuck the government up so they can treat us better.
Yeah, man. And it goes like I'm a fucking quote or like reference to another song, like Nicki Minaj in that moment of her life, where she says, you know, like I've been deprived of all of this, so now it's my time, that's my moment, you know. Like now I'm a shine, you know, like I've been deprived of my life, I've been poor all my life. Now I got money, man. Let me shine, you know. Let me show you who really I am. And that's what society it makes it like that. I mean, they put a barrier right on your head, you know. And then once you finally got it, like you feel happy, man. You like trying to show it off to the world, you know. Like that's really, that's how I feel, you know.
I think it just relates back to like our American hypocrisy, like you know, like we have like this ideal of like the American dream. Like what exactly is that? Like you know, like it's not something that everyone like right off the bat is gonna obtain.
Right.
Like it's impossible. Like most people won't. So. I think it just depends, like, how far, like, we're, like, led to believe and how much we want to believe, like, that the system is okay or that we need to have this in order to be happy.
Yeah, well,
I think the American dream is subjective, but I do agree that there is one encompassing dream of money.
Another minute and a half.
And how that manipulates
Do you want to conclude or make a conclusion or something?
Yeah, what do you guys want to conclude with?
Go ahead, do whoever spoke last, because man.
Any
I
last thoughts?
I spoke a lot.
Any last thoughts?
Whoever wants to speak
Basically,
up.
the government sucks.
The government
That's
sucks.
what I have to say about it.
Yeah, I think everybody should just start questioning why. You know, why they do this, why they do that.
Not questioning. We should start like action.
I think
It does start with the question.
Right.
It's actually gonna be down to violence, dude. That's what I honestly
But
think.
we shouldn't get back.
We're gonna have to get guns, dude. They're already trying to take our guns away. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Till
yeah.
I get some money, why not buy 5 or 10 guns and
Yeah.
stash them? Because they're gonna take them away
But,
from
and
us.
I heard that it was a stat. It was like the government. I think is the treasury part of it. They bought 1.6 billion rounds of ammo. You know, and in all the years that they whatever they was in Iraq, they only like shot like 70 million. So why would they buy billions? You know, obviously they're planning something. And I heard like of the martial law, but I don't want to get too deep into that. Yeah, man. We got like 20 seconds. So
I mean, it could go up to 35, no?
yeah.
I mean, I think that comes down to, like, in this song by Truth Decay, he says, seems like more of us in prison than the workplace. You know, and then it goes down, and then I remember in class she said something about, like, you know, the people in prison were like, you know, they're like fighting. It like goes back to one of the, I think it was the human oppression, where it's like, it's like we're fighting for freedom, kind of almost. And like the people in prison, you know, maybe that's their way of doing it. Maybe they tried to fight the system, and in that sense, that's how they're in prison. You know, so all the people who are thinking about it and are trying to change the system, you know, some people obviously like fucking up and just doing bad shit, but some people are legitimately just trying to change the system. You know, I feel like a lot of them are there. The people who are trying to do something about it end up in prison
Yeah.
because, you know, that's just how the
Prosecuted.
system
Yeah,
is.
like
And
Those are the real
the
heroes.
Black Panthers, right?
Yeah, those are the real
Everybody know
heroes.
about them?
I just want to touch on one quick point relating to the prison industrial complex.
Mhm.
Just to backtrack, you know, our government is bought by corporations.
Yeah.
Just to generalize, and corporations, they're the money to the backbone of their companies are prison industrial complex because they're getting free labor. Because the people in prison are making the Victoria's Secret clothes that you buy, the
Right.
Kohl's clothes. They're doing all this stuff behind the scenes that we're not noticing, and the companies are making so much money out of this that they're paying the government to not do anything about that, to keep sending more workers into prison.
And that's how they use like the war on drugs, like as like kind of like camouflage, to put more people in, like saying drugs is bad, but
Well, I
just
mean,
to push more people into jail.
Oh,
Prison.
they brought them in the 80s, you know. They throw them into the communities where
Drugs
like
are
they
good.
want to wipe people out.
For that reason, to
Right.
put them in prison.
Exactly. So
make
like,
more money.
and perfect example like UP Newton, right? Like he was an activist, hardcore. You know, he was about being armed and defending yourself like that. You know, like having weapons around, and they trained like you know, like the militia, right, or like military or whatever. And so what happens? You know, like all the crack cocaine comes in the 80s. You know, UP Newton for some reason he still gets addicted, right? So that messes up everybody's mind. You know, that just fucking guides you in a whole different way that you're never gonna be conscious. You're gonna be stuck in that world. You know, once you start messing with those drugs. And even famous people, it's not even in the hood, you know, like you have now white, you know, rich people getting affected by that, you know, it's just everywhere now. So they're not really trying to end it, you know, but they're trying to keep us oppressed that way.
Yeah,
Well, I think-
I'm lying about it, right?
Anything else?
Thing, well, it's good.
All right,
32 minutes.
wrap up.
MosDef.
What? Alright, man.